There's your Santa rally for you. It's Christmas red, but it's lacking all of the cheer. I have been warning about this. The assignment that I gave the S&P 500 at the beginning of the week was it had to get back above 606 today. Now, Thursday was looking pretty good, but we knew that was going up on extremely low participation and extremely low volume. We needed to see follow through today, not to the downside, but to the upside, to begin to be more optimistic about where the markets are going. I have been laying out for you guys for the last couple weeks that we might be entering into a re-evaluation phase on Wall Street. And you say, well, what is that? That's where stocks begin to get reassigned a more correct value. In this moment, there is the opportunity for incredibly good and strong companies to come down in their price a little bit, where we might be able to pick them up longer term going into the end of 2025 and even the end of 2026 for bigger gains. And so truthfully, I would like to see the markets pull back. But this conversation today is going to be about Bitcoin, because this is what is on everybody's mind. They're like, hey, I have crushed it in Bitcoin this so far. I've made life-changing money in Bitcoin. And the big question is, should I be snatching my gains and running for the bank? Or should I keep holding because I'm just, this thing went above $100,000 and now it's fallen back below and it's not quite doing what we thought it would do, which would be to be running higher and higher and higher. Michael Saylor, his laser eyes have been glowing, but Bitcoin has not been growing. And so people have been asking me, Josh, what should I do? Should I lock in some gains, right? And, personally, I'm just going to tell you right up front, I've not sold any Bitcoin, but I do have some very interesting indicators that will tell a story as to where we're at in the cycle. A lot of people need to understand that this has a very strong pattern or a very strong history that has led the way every other Bitcoin cycle. Now, it doesn't have to keep working. And I know that there's going to be people in the comments section. If I say anything bearish, they're going to say, Josh, everything's changed because now it's institutional money. And that's all. And that's to some extent, there is going to be truth to that. But personally, I think that we should follow the historical patterns of price action until that pattern changes and a new pattern is formed. Right now, I think the pattern does tell us and give us some clues as to what to do with Bitcoin right now. And I think you're going to find it very interesting. This is the Stocks with Josh show. It's coming to the end of a beautiful week here. We did it again today in the Stocks with Josh Discord. I live traded, which I do with my VIP members Wednesday and Friday. And there's simply too much editing to do and too many clips to have to find and show you to illustrate how many people made thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, a lot of the biggest gains were actually made off of the trade setups that I give every single day in the Discord before the market opens. I give you guys basically calls if the price crosses a particular price threshold, or puts if the price crosses below a particular price threshold. The two biggest paying positions to take today were the ones that I gave on Meta and Tesla. Both of them to the downside, both of them yielding easily 200%. But in the live trading session, we also entered into puts, which also printed heavy. And we took a single set of calls on Starbucks, which was the company that I talked about last in my video. In my previous video, yesterday's video, I talked about Starbucks wanting to go higher. And when the rest of the market was falling apart, Starbucks did go higher. And so we actually took Starbucks calls to the upside for a 100% options profit. We did it all together. It was a wonderful time. Spy Lord Michael, aka, joined me in that journey, giving some great guidance as well. When you come join the Stocks with Josh Discord, it's not just me, it's me and my crown traders. And there's actually somebody in there for everybody. There's people that are providing a strong base of fundamental research on long-term investments. There's people providing the opportunity for scalping options for quick profits, as well as penny stocks and micro coins. We're doing a lot in the Stocks with Josh Discord, as well as education. You've got to get your foundation laid. You've got to invest in yourself going into 2025, this is a place where you can get consistent education and trade alongside other people who've been doing this for a while successfully. So come join it. Come join us and check it out. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the MVRM. MVRM relates to Bitcoin, and it stands for market value to realized value. And this has a lot to do with the Bitcoin that gets moved around from wallet to wallet that actually isn't on an exchange, and what happens when that Bitcoin eventually gets sold. For what degree of profit is it getting sold, right? So basically there is a market value, and it's compared to a realized value. But let me show you the chart, and then I'm going to explain a few more important facts about it. What I want to illustrate for you guys is that this has called the top successfully within 2 weeks. And so when you see this orange line cross upwards to this pink bar, when it's reached that point, that is indicated that we are 1 to 2 weeks away from the high, okay? And it's typically been when it's gotten a read over 7. Now we're sitting at barely 3, which means that we are potentially, based on this accurate indicator of tops, Bitcoin tops, this is telling us that we are barely halfway to the potential market top for Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't mean that this is absolutely going to play out perfectly, and that when it hits 7, then that's going to give us the read of the all-time high within 2 weeks. But I'll tell you that this has worked the last 2 cycles, and there's a lot of people that believe that this will yet again this cycle indicate when the market is actually at its top. And what it's telling us right now is that it's nowhere near its market cycle top. Matter of fact, it's telling us that we're barely halfway there, which would align with some of the other price predictions that I've given on my show. Now, the second indicator that we're going to go over is we're going to be talking about moving averages. Now, this one is just too basic for some people to trust, but I trust the moving averages because if you go back in time, Bitcoin responds, it bounces off of the same moving averages from cycle to cycle, and it shows an entry into winter when it fails beneath the same moving averages from cycle to cycle. So let's talk about what moving averages Bitcoin is currently below and above and what it means. Right now, Bitcoin is below the 20-day moving average. Now, the 20-day moving average is to help get a sense of the short-term current price move of Bitcoin. And so being below the 20 means that in the short term, which means the next couple days or even the next couple weeks, it means that Bitcoin is not in an uptrend. Well, we kind of know that because we've been suffering the downtrend for the last couple weeks. Being below the 20 tells us that that is the case, that we are in the short-term downtrend. Now, interestingly, we're above the 50. We're above the 50-day moving average. Now, this actually is a medium-term trend. So what that means, being above the medium-term trend, it means that you were between 2 time frames. We're between a short-term trend and a long-term trend. Now we're above the 50, which means that the medium-term trend, and you want to be trading the trend, it actually means that it can go either way right now. We could return back to a short-term uptrend, or we could turn more towards a longer-term downtrend. We're right in the middle, and that's why everybody's kind of nervous and trying to figure out what to do. But if we continue to trust the moving averages, the one that's really the most important, which would actually still enable you to sell largely near the top of the Bitcoin move, would actually be the 100-day moving average. Now, we are above the 100-day moving average, and if we were to fall below the 100-day moving average, then people would begin to panic sell because they would believe that the top is actually over. Now, we're not anywhere near the 100-day moving average right now, and the fact is that we're still in a baby bull run, a bull run that's barely begun. And if we take a step back and just accept what the being above the 50 SMA tells us, it tells us the market had a short-term pullback, and now it's basically consolidating between the short and the long, and it's going to give us its direction pretty soon. In that, I have talked with you guys about price points that we want to see it stay above. Institutions have been talking about this critical $85,000 level. And personally, I believe that if Bitcoin does stay above 85,000, it confirms very strongly that we're still in the uptrend, that we're in the baby part of the bull run so far, right? We still have tons of time ahead of us. And I'm going to give you guys another chart which is going to illustrate that. And that we're just suffering volatility. The last couple Bitcoin videos I've done, I've talked about the fact that Bitcoin usually is actually way more volatile right now than we've actually seen it in the month of December. Now, normally the month that follows the breakout or break above previous all-time high month isn't a red month. We've actually never had a red month. And today we've got a handful of days before this particular December monthly candle closes. And at the moment, it is a red candle, but I don't think that we are getting ready to go into a long-term downtrend. We want to accept the fact that right now we have simply taken a pause from the strong push up, which would be illustrated by being above the 20 SMA or the 20 EMA. Okay. The next chart I want to give you, and then I'm going to give you guys a catalyst for where and how and when we might begin to move and which direction we might begin to move. I'm going to give that to you after I give you guys this next indicator. And this next indicator is to look back on how long each of these bull cycles typically took for the price of Bitcoin to reach its all-time high. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. How long it took from when the price of Bitcoin got above the previous market high, how many days it took for Bitcoin to peak out. Well, we go back here to the first one. You can see that there are 4 cycles marked on this chart. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 being the current place where Bitcoin price is at. But if we go back to the first, it was a total of 266 days before the price of Bitcoin reached its all-time high after crossing above the previous cycle high. Okay, so then the next time it did that, illustrated here by this green circle, you can see that the price eventually got above that previous market cycle high back in 2013. Here in 2017, it took almost 300 days, 280 days for the price of Bitcoin to reach its all-time high. Okay, we continue on in the last 2021 bull run. And again, the green circle illustrates the point in time in which we crossed and made a new move above the previous all-time high, right? So 2021, the price eventually got above the 2017 high, and it took 315 days. 315 days for Bitcoin that time to reach a brand new all-time high. Now, we have just in the month of the tail end of October and the month of November, did we actually get above the previous cycle high of 2021? So at the most, our current Bitcoin bull run, which I've been calling a baby bull run so far, it's only 60 days old. And the typical bull run before the price action reaches at the all-time high, as you can see based on the previous 3, is anywhere from 266 to 315. Now, I did not create this chart, and I think I would have put the timelines in different spots. But in general, I like the chart. It was easy for me to present to you guys today. I think that very reasonably, we have to think that we're going to remain in an uptrend of price for a minimum of 300 days. And we're only 60 days into that move. All right, that's the good news. The good news is that there's plenty of time left of this bull run. And no, it's extremely unlikely that the all-time high price that we just got will be the end all-time high price for Bitcoin in this crypto cycle. It's extremely unlikely based on the patterns of the past and history, okay? But it doesn't mean that we won't experience some volatility. Now, I'm going to give you what's going to contribute to some of the volatility that's ahead of us as we get to the end of this month and we get into January. It's obviously going to be the presidential inauguration ceremony on January 20th, and the most pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto president or politician that we have ever seen before. A man whose own sons have started a crypto bank and a cryptocurrency. Obviously, the family is positioned and they want to see crypto explode. And how is it going to explode? Well, it's going to explode by statements made from the podium of the presidency that are pro Bitcoin, pro crypto. And this could end up being a huge buy the rumor, sell the news event, which means that at any given moment, Bitcoin could be getting close to a bottoming moment, and we could be getting ready to explode higher as we get closer to that inauguration, as we get into the month of January. Now, am I telling you that you should immediately begin to load your bags in preparation for that moment? No. You got to think through risk very carefully. But what I am telling you is that I do believe that between now and that inauguration, it's extremely possible that we will retest the all-time high on many cryptos and Bitcoin, which means that between now and then, we're going to see what we've always seen in the past, which is much higher volatility. Believe it or not, even though we've moved down quite a bit and people are feeling shook by it, the fact is this is way less volatile than Bitcoin has been at the exact same moment in the past. And so let me just leave you guys with this. Being above the 50 EMA, the 50-day moving average, right? It tells us that we're at the perfect spot for Bitcoin to pause and to begin to look at its next move, right? And the length of the current bull run is still putting it in baby stage. It's not even an adolescent just yet. If it does decide to go down further, I can tell you that it will not be down there for very long. If we saw a spike down, you're going to see it. We're going to see a response from the bulls, spike back up, especially as we have the catalyst of Donald Trump ahead of us. So I wanted to give you guys my sentiment. I would definitely be encouraging my close friends around me that the Bitcoin bull run is not over, but we are going to experience more volatility, and it is going to lead to an opportunity to have some really incredible purchases where altcoins and Bitcoin and Ethereum might have some crazy and ridiculous spikes down, right? So you want to get your buy orders set, because I don't believe that the run is over. I do believe that we're going to see volatility, and it is, in my opinion, going to be an opportunity. And I think that if you were smart, you'd begin to get a little bit prepared for that. That's what this video, I hope, is going to enable you guys to do. Guys, don't miss the live trading sessions that I'm doing in the Stocks with Josh Discord, because it is absolutely going to change the trajectory of your trading. We talk a lot about teaching. Every single time I live trade, it's not just me giving an alert and saying, hey, I'm buying this or selling this, and we celebrate and make some money. I do a lot of charting in there. I do a lot of teaching in there and explaining to people why I do what I do or why I see what I see. Come and join us. Come check it out. Right now, there is a discount available for people that are making a full long year commitment to the Discord. You can get a pretty big savings. And when you divide that up amongst every single session, it makes it pretty affordable. Guys, check it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section whether or not you are prepared for the Bitcoin dip. And I'm just going to tell you right now, there are going to be some who are going to panic sell the next volatile dip in Bitcoin when they should be, when they could be. It could be the best decision to panic buy the next dip, right? The bull run is a baby bull run, and we've got a lot of opportunity ahead of us. This is normal. It's not normal to have a red monthly candle at this point, but it is normal to have a ton of volatility right now before this thing begins to continue to run. So don't get surprised when we're back above 100,000 after we have a violent dip down to sub below 90 and then back above 100K. I remember from previous cycles that Bitcoin could move $6,000 to $10,000 a day. That's right. Go back and look at the chart. $6,000 to $10,000 a day when it began to really rocket. And you know what? If it did that in the past, it could even do more here in the future, right? You know, people were surprised because the typical daily move for Tesla was right around $10. And then people started talking about the fact that that moved from $10 to $20, right? Don't be surprised. Like I'm saying, Bitcoin does a $10,000 day and then all of a sudden it does a $20,000 day. That's absolutely technically possible. And we follow the charts. That's what the charts are telling me. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. If you made it this far, then hit that like and send the video out to more viewers. Send it to your friends who are uncertain about what to do with Bitcoin right now. I hope this helped you. Look forward to talking to you in the comments section. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you later.